episode 8 of Salty Badger's Shop Adventures. Salty Badger here. Before we get things started, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Ray's Moto Life for sharing and getting us a couple more followers on our page. A thank you to those followers, Mr. and Mrs. Stumper, Toby Northern, Lone Cowboy, and Rays of the Road. We appreciate all of our followers. And we'd also like to give a huge thank you to the invite for the Veterans Day live from Toby Northern. Check that out on Friday. We will share some more information on that as we get it. This will be a good event, so check it out. We're going to be putting PTFE brake line on the chopper build. Previously, we've done it and had some questions about it, so not really much into doing the rework thing, but we did have a leak, so it worked out kind of good. So I thought I'd go back and we'll do a video on this episode of putting a PTFE brake hose together for brake lines. Check it out. Give us a like, a subscribe if you like what you see. Trying to get this chopper build for my son's buttoned up. We have a few things. Don't normally like doing the rework work, but we had a brake line leak in the PTFE hose. Bought it when we first did it, so I thought I'd go back and do a video on it. The good thing is about it, the fittings are reusable on these. They are good for the pressure, just there is right at the ferrule, so we're going to go through and try to redo this. So the first thing we did, we already took off the one bad side, so we're going to have to cut this line and refit everything. So we're going to start with that and see how it goes. So we'll put this line here. It's still got a fitting on it, so I can show you how we can reuse it. But this comes in, it's not real square, so we have to cut that off. These cutters here work really well for it. Give you a nice square cut as end as I can to try to keep that square in. Okay, then you have the black coating, then there's a steel line on the inside of it. You got to cut that steel line where you can cut it back. So what I've found is the best way to do it is take a razor blade, put it around there. You're not going to cut through the steel with the razor blade. Drag a line that way, roll it over, continue your line around. Any free pocket screwdrivers work very well for folding this back and getting away, and then it just peels off there. Then you're left with the steel. You got a flared edge of this. What works best for me is I take that and I feed it through. Then you got to work this fitting with some soft gel pliers. Works best. And then you got to work this hose through that fitting. And what you want to do is work it through so that plastic starts to come through. You put the ferrule on there, but you got to take you also want to take your screwdriver in there and you want to work that steel webbing the right way before you put your ferrule in. So this is the ferrule that we had on there the last time. These are reusable. I'm not going to reuse this because of the problem that we had, and we don't want to do this a third time. So the next step is you have to put the ferrule over the nylon line, get it started, and then use your vise to push it against so that it pushes it in there to be flush all the way up to the spot where it stops at. And after you do that, fitting into that vise nice and tight, then this piece feeds down inside of that ferrule. Make sure it's good and square. Get that started. Get down. And as it's tightening, it's pushing that ferrule on there. As it's tightening, that ferrule is getting tighter, and that steel is biting rubber coating on the PTFE hose. Isn't going to slide around. And once you get that tight, and it's tight there, it can't come apart. One thing is, when it can't come apart, it can't leak. So I like to try to line these nuts up, so I do have to tighten this down just a little bit farther. So the hexes are straight, is the point of that. And we have one hose made. Alright guys, PTFE hose worked. We now have front and rear brakes on the build project. This makes it for a short episode. The only thing left on that build is to torque the front axle and fill the primary fluid up and adjust the clutch. We've already had a test fire on it. After we do the unveil, I will show some footage of the exhaust, just fire up, things like that. I might put a sneak preview in at the end of this video of a couple things along the way, a couple pictures that we took, just to fill in some space, maybe build some little bit of excitement for the unveiling. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Starting to get the social media stuff out there. Some stuff coming up. In the next build, we'll bring you guys along for it. Maybe ask some questions, get some insight from you guys. Maybe we'll do some votes on it, see what you guys want to do. See what we can do. And always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Thank you.